So it's a sad day, my friend. The Canon Cripplehammer has just announced his retirement. The R5 II was too perfect. He didn't have a chance to dent it, and it's the greatest camera ever made, and I'm sorry we're not going to be able to see you again. It was so fun when you removed features from each camera, and we were wondering what were you going to remove next, but well done on leaving this one alone. So good job, and I wish you well in retirement, whatever it is you're going to do. I bought the Canon camera. Your job is done here. Thank you. Thanks for everything. Farewell to you. Oh, hold on. I was just trying to put zebras on, but I noticed I had to turn peaking off to get that. All
I want is the perfect camera. All I want is the perfect camera.
The Cripplehammer lives on, my friend. I'm going to work on a video on my desire for a firmware, because it's needed. If I was to make this camera perfect, the R5 Mark II with the 24mm1.4, EF of course, not the new flat version, I have several things I would love to see different, but if I'm being honest with you, this is the first time in my life where I'm like, I don't need the Sony. Why would I ever use the Sony now? I don't need the C70. It's almost the same thing here. You do everything each of my cameras did, but better. And you costed me less money, personally. It wasn't even that, it was a good deal. But if that 28mm Tony 2.8 coming on its way soon is good for vlogging and slow motion street videography stuff, I don't see a Sony. What are you even doing here? I don't get it. So that could be a whole sell-off, and then I have one camera only to rule them all. The only thing I wonder is, can it do slow motion street videography? So I took it out yesterday with the 50mm 1.2, just skating around there, pointing and shooting. And I couldn't believe what I witnessed. I thought Sony was the king at this. Not even close. Canon, we bow to you now. Fully aware that not 6 days ago, I was making videos saying I cannot believe how much I hate this camera. Like, the files were hard to edit. I can't really shoot RAW in here. Once I got over that initial just brat outburst of like temperate rage, I didn't get my orange juice on time. Like, I was mad. I threw a temper tantrum is the word I was looking for. It was bad news, but once I got over the fact that I'm probably not shooting 8K 60 very often, 4K RAW is not a thing in here. If you just use regular 4K, it's beautiful. The HD 240 might be class leading, best stable in the business. From what I've seen, I've never had that stable footage. On Sony, it's always, like, there's moments. There's all kinds of jerky moments. Nikon was even worse. Canon better than both. Panasonic would be great if they did autofocus and slow-mo. They don't. I mean, it's not like there aren't annoying things about the camera, but it's pretty damn good. From what I was seeing, it's just like, yeah, there's some jerky moments, okay? You're not perfectly, it's usually when I'm riding over the sidewalk, but don't look at me, sir. I'm not filming you. I'm just holding the camera. I'm clearly looking in the opposite direction. What was his problem? This guy kicked a ball, but I missed it. It would have been glorious. I didn't get it in time. He kicked it hard. There are times where the autofocus just, it was kind of lost initially, but once it grabs your subject, is pretty darn reliable. As soon as it latches, boom, and then it will follow you in a dual pixel autofocus-like manner very smoothly and reliably. I would say Sony's still better, but I don't know, man, Canon's quite good. They're next best. It's Sony and then Canon, and it's close, and Canon has the better stable in this. And this is incredible that I'm on a skateboard riding over a bumpy road and it looks like a gimbal. You don't always choose the subject I want. Let's see, I think we all want the one in the brown jacket. She's closest, although the one on the left is pretty special, but you chose the mother. Sure, she gave birth to the two and it was hard, but come on, what are we doing here? What kind of creeptography choice was that? I gotta be honest with you, I'm slightly obsessed with this camera now. Like it's occupying a lot of space in my mind of how good it is and how much potential there is, and I still don't have the 600mm Tony 11. I'm dying to test it, and the 28mm 2.8, I'm just like, oh my god, the possibilities are endless. And then best native performance for EF lenses with all the 3D pop, and it's just like, holy shit, and Canon colors, and that's slow-mo in the business. And then if you want 8K, you go out there. I filmed a scene yesterday for Vegetable Police. This was an 8K, stopped down to 2.8 with the 85mm 1.2. And I was just like, damn, that is beautiful. It is like too beautiful for our own words. And you can punch in with that 8K and it's easy to edit. It's just the 10-bit 420. It's not like special RAW or anything. Canon's very polished. When they release a feature, sometimes it takes them many years to catch up to the competition, but once they release a feature finally, like HD 240, it's done correctly and it's class leading at that point. Like finally it's here and it's good, and it's really good, and you can do audio with it. I think there's many different modes. It's very confusing, but you can do like real-time stuff. Whereas if you go into high frame rate mode, it makes a 30p file that I have to slow again to make it 24 equivalent. That's a waste of my time. I didn't even have a glimmer glass on there. Usually for the slow-mo street videography, you want a little glimmer glass. Get those highlights blooming. But like hair blown in the wind, women out in the sun, AirPods damaging their brain with Bluetooth radiation. That's not bad. You got the Jamaican guy with a interesting camouflage suit. Not sure what you're hiding from. The Jamaican Congo military or something, but they'll still see you here. I have a feeling Nikon will still be better for wildlife just due to that 600mm 6.3 likely being much better than the 600 Tony 11. I'm putting a lot of stock and weight into that lens being good when it might not be, but I was very impressed with the 800mm Tony 11. It was very sharp, and that was on the Canon EOS R. So like, give me a break. It'll probably be plenty good enough. And you get animal eye detect, even though it's in just a short box in the middle, but I'm always doing that anyway. You can't just trust the whole screen to animal eye detect when there's twigs and shit. Yeah, pick the bird, pick that eagle, please, out of all these shots. But this is the first time I've been like excited about a camera and excited to use it since the A7S III. It was like, wow, I can't believe they have all this 4K 120, and yeah, pretty much you're just matching the A7S III now, but you do it with much better IBIS and way better colors, just more natural, and you do have 8K if you can edit the damn files. It's just like, what's not to love? Better glass, better everything. Canon, they lead us to the promised land. That hammer, he doesn't dent anything. This is made out of titanium. I've touched it. It's hard to damage that thing. I could totally see a world where I sell the C70. I don't know why I have this. Like, this is basically the same thing, only the autofocus is actually reliable. As we saw outside, I was like 30, 40 feet away from the camera and it was latching on to me. This is the first time Canon autofocus has been reliable in multiple situations for me. All like up to the R6 Mark II, they all lost me at some point. This one, like, they finally have something worth Sony level, almost. And on my way home, after filming all this stuff with the 50mm 1.2, I put the 85 1.2 on. Got some slow-mo street videography, so that'll be another video. Possibly even better results. Sometimes worse with the autofocus, damn you, straight to hell, but impressive. You could do worse. Now that's not to say you're without your flaws, of course. And I will do a separate video on my desires for the R5 II to be fixed in a firmware. Canon's pretty good at listening to the audience and like updating firmwares years later. Canon C70 got RAW like years later. Boom, you can now shoot RAW all of a sudden. Would love a better codec in here, but that's another video coming, so you'll be watching that down below. There's nothing down below that will direct you to the future, unfortunately, right now. That's blame YouTube. Blame Bitcoin never. You just lose it into my wallet. So do you agree R5 II best camera ever made so far? Almost as good as the A7S III? It doesn't crop in 4K 120. You cropped a tiny bit. And I can use enhanced stab in any mode. Haven't even tried it. Wouldn't even want to. I think I'll be leaving now, because Canon never loses you in autofocus even if you dance. If it lost me, I'll return it. Subscribe for more when I was saying.